So tonight I am going to try something new, which is to read one of the random old books I have from when I was a child. I will break these videos up into probably 5-minute segments, and I just thought it might be something interesting to do. So tonight I will be reading Tom Swift and his Triphibian Atomicar. This is a book by one Victor Appleton II, and it contains illustrations which were apparently done by Charles Bray. Chapter 1, Airport Alarm. Tom, your new atomic sports car is absolutely dreamy, said Phyllis Newton. 18-year-old Tom Swift Jr. grinned at the pretty, dark-haired girl's excitement as his sleek bronze racer glided along the highway leading out of Shopton. You should call it the Silent Streak, suggested Sandra Swift, Tom's 17-year-old blonde sister, who was riding in the back seat with Bud Barkley. Good name, Sandy, Tom agreed, but by the time publicity releases, we'll call it a Triphibian Atomicar. Open her up, Skipper, Bud urged his pal. Tom advanced the unit control lever, and the car arrowed forward with a whoosh. His three companions were thrilled by its smooth, noiseless response. Suddenly, Sandy gasped. Tom, slow down for this curve, she begged. Instead of slowing, the bubble-hooded Atomicar hurtled straight toward a stone wall. Bud Barkley clutched the top of Tom's bucket seat. What's wrong? He gulped. Tom, don't know, Tom cried, frantically thumbing the brake button at the top of the steering lever as he swung the lever hard left. No response. In seconds, the car would plow into the embankment like a bronze thunderbolt. In the nick of time, Tom pressed the Repellitron lifter switch on the dashboard. The Atomicar zoomed up off the road, cleared the embankment with inches to spare, and finally settled down to a pancake landing in the field beyond as Tom cut off all the power. Oh my goodness, Phil quavered weakly. Both girls were white-faced and breathless from this near accident. Tom and his husky, dark-haired pal felt a bit shaken themselves. Whew, have you figured out what happened? Bud asked when he found his voice. Not yet, but I intend to, pronto. Tom slid back the canopy, leaped out, and raised the car's hood. After a brief inspection, he located the trouble. The master servo control unit failed, he muttered grimly. No wonder she wouldn't answer the stick. Couldn't be sabotage, could it? Bud asked. Often in the past, unscrupulous rivals and enemies of the Swifts had tried to wreck their new inventions or daring scientific projects. Tom shook his head. No sign the unit was tampered with. Even at Cape Canaveral or our own rocket launchings on Fearing Island, there's no way to guarantee 100% reliability. Tom took a toolkit and spare parts from the trunk and quickly replaced the unit. He also installed an extra master control as an emergency standby to rule out any danger of a second mishap. Sorry about the scare, Tom told the girls as he and Bud climbed back into the car. Bud chuckled. This is what's known as getting the bugs out of a new hot rod, the hard way. Please, let's not joke about it, said Phil. Tell you what, Tom said as he steered the car into a gentle slide back onto the highway. I'll invent an anti-crash device before your next test ride, mademoiselle. Sold. Phil's brown eyes twinkled back at the young scientist. She and Sandy soon forgot the frightening experience in the sheer exhilaration of spinning along as quietly as a breeze. The lack of engine noise, Tom explained, was due to the car being driven by 4 small electric motors, one of them mounted at each wheel. And that steering lever does everything? Phil asked. Practically everything, Tom said. Accelerates, slows, stops, turns, or reverses, depending on how you move the stick. Passing motorists goggled admiringly at the bronze bubble-hooded sports car. As Tom drove farther into the country, the highway skirted pleasant green woodland to the left to the right. Off to the right, the blue waters of Lake Carlopa sparkled in June sunshine. How about that Triphibian feature you mentioned? Sandy asked from the back seat. Well, you know what amphibian means? Sandy grinned at him in the rearview mirror. Don't pin me down, Professor, but it refers to something that exists on both land and water, doesn't it? I know the Marines make amphibian landings and amphibian plane that can take off from land or water. Tom nodded. Well, my Atomicar is a triphibian, meaning it can get around on land, through the air, or over water. To demonstrate, Tom pushed the Repellitron switch on the dashboard, and again the car's wheels soared gently up off the road. A Repellitron lifter does the trick, Tom explained. The Repellitron was a repulsion ray device which Tom had invented to drive his revolutionary spaceship, the Challenger. Tom brought squeals of excitement from the girls by veering off the highway, hedge-hopping straight down the shore to the lake, and then skimming over the waves. "Oh, this is fun," Phil exclaimed. "What makes the car go, now that the wheels aren't driving us?" "A small air-jet," Tom replied. "Doesn't take much motive power once we're airborne. You could push it along with one finger." Sandy looked down at the blue scudding surface just below them. It's like surf sledding," she said gleefully. "But what if your Repellitron conked out? Will we float?" "Sure." Tom flicked the switch, and the car settled down the waves with a slight splash. Everything's watertight, and there's an air ballast tank on each side of the frame. "Great for a fishing trip," said Bud. "It'll be great for all sorts of transport purposes," Tom said. "This baby can cross rivers and operate over any terrain, swamps, wild bush, country, even mountainous areas. Its Repellitron," the young inventor added, "made the Atomicar far nimbler than ground-hugging, air-cushioned vehicles. Moreover, it would not churn up clouds of dust on dirt roads as they do." Tom proved its versatility on the way back to town by more hedge-hopping stunts, even skimming a treetop. "Seriously, though," Tom added, as the girls caught their breaths amid gasps of laughter, "the biggest selling point is that this car will run for hundreds of thousands of miles at almost no operating cost. That is, when my new atomic power capsule is installed. This midget power plant, a revolutionary breakthrough in itself, would change atomic energy directly into electricity." Tom explained that the present sports car model of his Atomicar, for demonstration purposes, was temporarily being powered by solar batteries. The latter, another of Tom's inventions, were small, powerful electric cells charged by the sun's rays at the Swift's outpost in space. This was the Swift's manned space installation, a wheel-shaped factory which they had recently assembled. "How soon will your atomic capsule be ready to install, Skipper?" Bud asked. Tom shrugged and grinned. "I'll answer that tomorrow after we've tested it in the lab." Sandy glanced at her wristwatch as they neared Shopton. "Gracious, this ride's been so thrilling, I almost forgot we're to meet Cousin Ed at the airport at 4:15. Tom whistled. "Good thing you reminded me." After dropping Phyllis Newton at her house, the others drove on to the Swift home. Here, Tom turned over the Atomicar to Bud, who would drive it back to the Swift's experimental station. Then, Tom and his sister headed for the Shopton airport in the family car. Ed Longstreet, a slender young man of 25 with a good-humored grin, was one of the first passengers to reach the exit gate. "Hi, Ed. How's the world traveler these days?" Tom asked, shaking his cousin's hand. "Just great. And say, who's this blonde charmer?" Sandy giggled and gave Ed a quick kiss. He followed the stream of passengers into the terminal building as they waited at the luggage counter. Ed described his flight home from the Middle East via London. His remarks were interrupted as a tense voice blared out over the public address system. "Everyone leave the terminal at once. Repeat, leave the terminal at once. There is no cause for panic, but please get out quickly." There was a stunned hush, then an excited babble as people began hurrying towards the exits. Tom grabbed Sandy's hand and spoke to his cousin. "Come on, Ed. Let's go." The three had just reached the parking lot outside when a loud blast was heard. Smoke billowed from the airport building. "A bomb!" Tom cried. Fire sirens were already screaming in the distance. In a short time, a hook and ladder arrived, followed by a police car, then another fire truck. The crowd watched anxiously as the police and firemen plunged into the smoking interior. In 20 minutes, exhaust fans had cleared away the last whiffs of smoke, and the same voice, much calmer now, was announcing, "Ladies and gentlemen, we regret this shocking inconvenience, but the terminal is now perfectly safe. The blast was caused by a smoke bomb, and we hope the police will soon arrest the person responsible." Most of the crowd showed signs of relief, although some were still angry and shaken. "Well, well," joked Ed Longstreet, mopping his forehead with a handkerchief. "Quite a welcome you folks arranged for me." Tom laughed wryly and told Sandy to take their cousin to the car while he picked up Ed's suitcase. Soon, the Swifts and their guest were driving home. When they arrived, Tom's parents greeted Ed warmly. Then Mrs. Swift, slender and pretty, served glasses of ice fruit juice, while their visitor settled himself in an easy chair and Sandy recounted the airport bomb scare. Mr. Swift, tall and athletic looking, with steel blue eyes, listened with keen interest. "Sounds as though someone has had an unpleasant sense of humor," he remarked quietly. The distinguished scientist and his infamous son bore a close resemblance. Ed Longstreet reached inside his suit coat pocket and brought out a leather case, which he handed to Mrs. Swift. Her eyes danced with anticipation. Inside lay a delicate silver necklace supporting a blood red ruby pendant. The jewel flashed with a fiery brilliance as Mrs. Swift held the necklace up to the light. "This is magnificent," she said. "Try it on," Ed urged with a smile. "You surely didn't bring this for me?" Mrs. Swift's voice trembled with genuine awe. Ed nodded and produced a smaller box for Sandy. It contained a silver ring with a ruby that looked like a twin to the one in the necklace. Sandy bubbled with delight. "Oh, it's beautiful, just beautiful." Both she and her mother smiled happily as they expressed their thanks and displayed the gifts to Tom Sr. and Tom Jr. Ed was pleased. "Actually, the stones were a bargain," he explained. "I bought them unset at the bazaar in Tehran. Sorry. That's the capital city of Iran, isn't it?" asked Sandy, more fascinated than ever. "Yes, Persia was its old name. By the way," Ed went on, "there's a mystery connected with those rubies." "A mystery?" Sandy was wide-eyed. Ed's eyes twinkled. "No doubt you've read in the newspapers recently about Kabulistan, a little country near Iran and Afghanistan, which just gained its independence. Well, once a famous ruby mine was located there, called Amir's Mine. Today, no one knows where it is. The mine's been lost for 2 centuries. "You don't mean these 2 rubies came from that mine?" asked Tom. "You've guessed it," said Ed. "I took the stones to London to be mounted, and because of their color, the jewelers suspected they had been taken at least 200 years ago from the fabled lost mine at Kabulistan." "Oh, how fascinating!" Sandy exclaimed, and her mother added, "What a treasure trove if someone could find it." Ed smiled. "Believe it or not, I bought a book which gives a clue to the mine's location. I'm giving it to Tom Sr. and Tom Jr." Going over to a suitcase, which had been placed on the stairway, Ed opened it and delved inside. His face took a strange look as he rummaged through the contents. "The book's gone!" he cried. Okay, so that was chapter 1. Tomorrow I will read chapter 2. Excuse the mispronunciations and stuttering. Hopefully things will smooth out as time goes on. Anyways, I hope you enjoy some classic American cheese. Good night.